Welcome to another edition of Mind, Body, and Spirit. I'm your host, registered dietitian Karen Kowalik. On today's program, a vivid imagination and a passion for writing turned into a career as a romance novelist for author Nancy Loyan Schumann. She joins us to talk about her journey into creative writing and the ins and outs of the romance novel industry. And you feel safe when you're out and about? Most stranger attacks occur in public places. A local self-defense coach will show us some simple moves to keep you from becoming a crime victim. And outdoor running season is in full swing. A proper pair of fitting shoes may keep you from getting sidelined with an injury. A local track coach joins us with what to look for in your next pair of shoes. All that plus my health tip segment coming up next on Mind, Body, and Spirit.
It's a healthy start to a new day. It's a healthy start to a new day. It's a healthy start to a new day. It's a healthy start to a new day.
Travel deep inside the imagination of a romance author and you may end up in some exotic location, reunited with a long-lost love who also happens to be a millionaire. Our next guest is very familiar with that scenario as she has written 7 novels. Author Nancy Loyan Schumann is the past president and a current member of the Northeast Ohio chapter of the Romance Writers of America, and she's here to share more on her journey through writing. Welcome to the program, Nancy.
Well, thank you, Karen. It's an honor being here.
You know, first off, I have to say I didn't know there was a Romance Writers of America chapter, and I have never met a romance author. I think you're the first one. How did you get started, and how did you fall into this genre?
Well, basically, I got started writing. When I was in elementary school, I penned picture books for fellow students. I was an avid fan of reading fairy tales, and fairy tales are basically children's happily ever after romance novels. And I gravitated to Barbara Cartland, then Danielle Steele, and I decided I can write this myself. So then I started writing my own novels. But of course, life gets in the way. You go to college, you get a job. But then I went full circle and became a freelance author. An opportunity came up where I was commissioned to write a book for the city of South Euclid, and this became my first book. Of course, it's not a romance, it's a little more historical. That led to bigger things: Cleveland, Ohio, a photographic portrait. It's a coffee table book on the city of Cleveland. And then finally, I was able to go back to my favorite genre, romance and women's fiction. My first novel I had published is Paradise Found. It was with a small publisher. It's a story that takes place in the exotic Seychelles Islands in the Indian Ocean, a multicultural romance. And basically, that publisher went out of business, and I went to self-publish. Well, of course, it took like 20 years for me to land a publishing contract with a big publisher. A division of Adams Media, which does Writer's Digest books and others, started a romance line called Crimson Romance. And I was contracted with them for 5 novels. Well, as life would happen, my editor left and the new editor had a different focus. Since my books had been out several years, I decided that I wanted the rights back. And luckily, I was able to procure the rights back, and I was able to self-publish those books in addition to several new books.
Now let's talk about some of your titles. They're a little bit unique and not your typical romance title that you see in the bookstore. Lab Test, can you tell our audience about that?
Okay, basically I'm a little unusual. I'm a romance author, but I'm also a little women's fiction, which means that instead of just focusing on the hero and heroine, I have secondary characters, I have more advanced plots, secondary plots, and I'm a little more quirky in detail. And probably quirky is the word for Lab Test, because Lab Test deals with a black Labrador retriever who's basically a girl that was turned into a dog. She's adopted by the hero, and she's a voyeur into his life. Well, of course, don't worry. She turns into a human when they have a relationship, but it's a humorous paranormal. And that's what sort of sets me apart, is I don't just write one genre. I have humorous paranormal. I just re-released a time travel called Wishes and Tears that goes back to the great San Francisco earthquake. I have a several mystery suspense novels. One is still with Crimson Romance. It's called Special Angel. It's about a reporter unraveling the mystery of the world's greatest singer.
Now, you wrote one about a safe. These seem like different subjects. How did you know the background on how safes work?
Well, they say...
And that's called The Right Combination, correct?
Yeah, well, they say write about what you know or what you want to know. So I'm a little unusual. My husband and I collect antique safes, and we've done so from before we were married. And I used to write about antique safes for a trade publication. So I use my knowledge in mystery suspense. It's about a serial killer who is tracking safecrackers. And my hero is an FBI agent who's out to find him.
Is there a common thread in all of your books? They seem each one seems so unique.
Though they're unique, my tagline is sort of unlocking the barriers to romance, because each of my novels unlocks a barrier. It's either socioeconomic, racial, interspecies with lab tests, the time travel, and in A Kiss in the Rain, my latest release that I self-published, it's about reuniting lovers from the past. It's another serial killer story. My hero is an FBI agent who goes to the Chautauqua Institution to find a black widow who's preying on lonely old men. And I've taught writing at the institution. This will be my 10th year as an instructor. My book's available there. I've had a book signing. And so I know it well, and that was a really fun book to write.
How does writing fulfill you as a creative person?
Well, I'm rather creative in so many different ways, but writing is something that I always say is like breathing. It's something I've always had to do my whole life. I just can't imagine not doing it. I mean, even if I was never published, in which for 20 years I wasn't in fiction, I still wrote because it's just something I just feel in my heart. I have stories to tell and I want to tell them, or my characters tell me what stories they want me to write and I write them.
What would you suggest for someone who wants to get started, that has the same passion as you do?
Basically, with writing, you have to sit down and write. If you write 1 page a day in 365 days, you have a novel. But for advice, there are a lot of local and national resources. I teach Romance Writing 101 for the Cuyahoga County Public Library's Writers Center at the branch in South Euclid-Lyndhurst. I'm also a member of the Northeast Ohio chapter of Romance Writers of America. Romance Writers of America is the largest trade organization of romance authors and the oldest, and it's international. They have over 12,000 members. And they have a local chapter which meets monthly in the area at different libraries. And their website is www.neorwa.com for more information on their meetings. And I highly recommend it. If you're a women's fiction or romance author or wannabe, it's a great organization for networking and support.
Well, thank you so much. And how about your web address if someone wants to reach you directly, if they want to buy one of your books?
Okay. My website is www.nlsscribe.com, and I'm also on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and all the social media.
Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. This was a real fun.
We'll be right back with more Mind, Body, and Spirit.
Did you know kids who play outdoors have healthier lungs?
Totally.
I did. Did you know that boys that play with dolls make better husbands?
My son has lots of dolls.
But did you know terry cloth diapers breathe better?
I did.
It's totally true.
Oh, yeah.
Did you know that strollers have the right of way on a sidewalk?
Yes.
Yep, I did. Did you guys
Did you know that kids who eat breakfast have higher GPAs?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. That's actually what I was going to say.
Did you know babies should never touch silver? It's really bad for them.
I knew that.
Did you guys know that statistically friendly kids have more friends?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's obvious.
Did you know most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat to make sure your child is protected.
I'm putting that on my blog.
I just put it in mine.
Restaurants, bars, shopping plazas, walking down the street, or public transportation. These are all places where most violent crimes committed by a stranger occur, according to a recent survey by the Bureau of Justice Statistics. So, do we need to stay inside all the time or become a black belt in karate to protect ourselves? Self-defense expert Christina Michelle is here to share some common sense moves you can learn to get out of a dangerous situation. Welcome to the program, Christina.
Thanks for having me on. Happy to be here.
You know, I think most women, we assume that we cannot overtake a male. How do you debunk that idea with women?
Women actually have an advantage when it comes to self-defense, and that's that not only do they a lot of times feel like they can't defend themselves against a man who's attacking them, but also the attacker doesn't assume that most women can protect themselves. So a lot of times, you know, you have that element of surprise with anything you do to protect yourself, to get free from grabs, attacks, anything like that. But I think one thing women just really need to realize, a lot of this stuff is so simple. It's not about martial arts training. It's not about an extended fight with an attacker. There's always a weakness to get free and get away, escape and survive the situation.
What is the most common way someone would be grabbed on the street?
So a lot of times with attacks, whether it's a sexual assault or assault, or even attempted abduction, women and children, a lot of times it starts with a grab. You are not where they want you to be. You know, either they're taking you to this car, they're taking you, behind this building, wherever it is, they're grabbing you. And a lot of times that's by the wrist. They grab you by the wrist like I would grab you like this to grab and pull you.
How would I get out of this?
So this is really simple. If you notice, there's 8 fingers underneath, 2 thumbs on top. Your arm is stronger than any man's 2 thumbs, any person's 2 thumbs. So what you do is you make a fist. You're going to reach in and grab it with your other hand on top and swing it to your opposite ear like you're swinging a baseball bat. Yep, and you're free. It releases the grip and you just turn, run away, get away from the situation.
What do you think about tools like mace, or I hear that commercial on the radio for the Tiger Lady Claw? Should we be investing in those?
The problem with most weapons is a lot of times there's a chance that that weapon can also be used against you, no matter what it is. Things like mace also, you have to consider if you're outside, especially if it's a windy day, you don't know necessarily where that wind is blowing and you can't control that. So you might try and spray the mace at the attacker and the wind blows it back at you or away, and it's actually made the situation worse. So a lot of times those things can be more harmful to you than beneficial. But there are certain things that you can use that no one would suspect that it's a weapon. It's something that you would just have on you, such as like a key. A lot of times people who try and use a key as a weapon, they use it wrong. They use it incorrectly. They want to put it, if I could demonstrate, they want to take it. How would you use a key as a weapon?
I might put it between my fingers and punch.
Yeah, a lot of times people try and do that. But there's no damage done, especially if you're going for the body, someone has, a coat on, anything like that. That's just gonna push, the skin will bend with it. It's not a knife. But if you've ever known anyone who's had their car keyed, they don't take it and push, they actually use it like a knife. They grab the base, they put their finger at the back of the key, and then they use it in a slashing motion. And if that can cut through the steel of a car, it can definitely do some damage to an attacker. So that's one thing, especially for women. You're out jogging, have a key around your wrist, something that, you have it maybe tied to a little hair tie or string, something that you can just have it right at fingertip length, grab it, and you can use it to defend yourself if somebody were to grab you or attack you or try and rob you, anything like that. You have that kind of, and again, having that element of surprise to get away.
Any other common items? What about your purse? Can your purse be used as a weapon, or anything else we might be carrying with us?
Generally you won't be carrying this around, but this is something that is an everyday household item. A magazine actually makes a wonderful weapon. And again, a lot of times people use it wrong. They will roll it up, grab the end of it. So here's the magazine, they're grabbing it here and they try and beat over the head with it, and that isn't even gonna give the attacker a headache. But if you take that same magazine and you grab it directly in the middle, all of a sudden you have what's basically 2 hammers. The ends of those magazines, they're very strong. They're, stronger than your fist. They can do a lot of damage, and it's not something that, can just be taken away from you and used against you. So you have that, you can, slip that in your purse, anything like that. As far as purses go, a lot of times you have to use a little bit of common sense that, if you're walking down the street, maybe it's a crowded street, you're not just carrying your purse over here on the side. You know, it's really simple. They might not be trying to harm you. They just want to, they want to take your purse. They want to rob you. It's very easy to just grab that strap and keep walking, especially if you're at a mall or on a crowded street. You're walking this way, the person's walking this way. They just grab the purse and they run. There's nothing you can do about it. And it's just as simple as taking that purse, holding it in front of you. They can't just come up, grab it, and get it. But those two weapons right there are, everyday items. Anyone can use them as a weapon. I also want to point out that you shouldn't, if you do get in a fight with the attacker, let's say you get free and they, try and grab you again, try and hit you, one of the worst things you can do is try and punch them, because that's something that takes a lot of training. Most people who try and punch, it's a natural reach, like this. I hit with these knuckles, I'm gonna break my fingers, I'm gonna break my wrists, I'm gonna do more damage to myself than the attacker. But if you take that same shape of a fist and you strike with the outside, it's called a hammer fist. I can just really, do a lot of damage hitting the nose, hitting ribs, jaw, anything like that, and I'm not going to injure myself. So that's one strike to keep in mind that can do a lot of damage without hurting you.
And how can people reach you if they'd like to learn more about this?
The website is escapeandsurvive.com. We do have some training videos available on DVD, and we're also on Roku, so if people have Roku, they can find it there. They can do some training at home, but for anyone in the Northeast Ohio area, we do seminars as well, whether private or corporate seminars, working with schools or PTA groups and things like that. So anyone interested in that can just go to escapeandsurvive.com, and there's also self-defense classes that I teach ongoing, and for that they can go to clevelandacademy.org. That's Cleveland Academy of Self-Defense.
Lots of great information. Thank you so much, Christina.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with more Mind, Body, and Spirit.
So they say it's a man's world? Well, I don't see anybody's name on it. While they were out doing their thing, we slowly changed all that. We changed all that. Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
This time of year, many runners are heading outdoors for recreational exercise and to compete in road races. But before you hit the pavement, experts suggest getting a professional shoe fitting. I'm joined by Eddie Hoffmeyer from Second Soul in Akron, who says spending a few dollars on a good pair of running shoes may be an investment that keeps you out of the doctor's office. Welcome to the program, Eddie.
Thanks.
So what can go wrong if we're running in a pair of shoes that just aren't right for our feet?
If you're running in a pair of shoes that is too small, we'll start with the simple thing, too small for your feet are going to swell at about 10 miles on a run, 8 to 10 miles. You could lose a toenail, you could get lots of blisters, so that's the main thing. Also, if you're in the wrong shoe, let's say you overpronate, and so your foot rolls in, okay? If you have this kind of post in your shoe, and if you don't have this post, you're going to overpronate, your foot's just going to move, your patella tendon's going to move, and you're going to get a lot of inside leg problems and knee problems. If you supinate, if you run on the outside of your foot out here, and you run in a posted shoe, it's going to be more on the outside. So if you don't get in the right shoe for the way you run, it could cause all kinds of problems.
And you hear so often runners say, oh, my knees are bothering me, I ran for years, I could barely walk anymore.
Yeah.
And it could have been a good pair of shoes.
It could have been being in the wrong shoe.
Now, how do we find out which shoe is right for us?
The best thing to do is, if you're a runner or a walker, the best thing to do is go to a run specialty store. But go to a place where they actually watch you run or watch you walk. Don't go to a place where they just look at your feet and then say, okay, I'm going to get you this shoe and give it to you.
What are they looking for when they're watching us running or walking?
We're looking to see if your feet roll in, so if you're overpronating. What we usually do is I watch you barefoot first, not run, but walk. So, and I can see the foot, if it's overpronating, collapsing in, or if it's supinating, okay? So then what I do is I usually put them in a shoe like this, which is a neutral shoe. And this helps me to determine if they overpronate, because this shoe won't stop you from overpronating. So if you're neutral, you'll look real straight, knees, hips, everything will be in alignment. If you're overpronating in this shoe, I'll see it right away. So then I correct it with something like this, with a post in the shoe.
Can you tell me about these other shoes you brought with us? What's special about them?
Actually, I meant to bring this one because this is a 4mm drop shoe, and this is where a lot of the running industry is going. So this is less heel on the shoe, so you don't want to heel strike anymore. That's kind of gone. You want to hit midfoot. So this shoe helps you hit midfoot.
So it helps with the form.
Right. Helps you with your running form too.
Besides, proper fitting shoes, what other things does someone need to know when they're going out on a run? What other supplies should they have?
You want to be in no cotton for one thing. All your apparel should be non-cotton when you run, especially when it starts to get hot out.
So something like this?
Yeah, the socks have to be non-cotton. Most blisters occur, 99% of blisters occur because people are in the wrong socks. They're in cotton socks. So.
Is this like a wicking fabric?
It's polyester, lycra, so it wicks moisture away from your foot and out to the sock and then out to the outside of the shoe. And then the air kind of takes the moisture away. You'd be surprised. Your feet will feel dry when you get done with the run instead of soaking wet.
Now you brought a couple other things. Stop chafing. Tell me about that.
That's BodyGlide's great. So if you're a new runner and you start to get chafing, usually right in the inside of the legs, or your women's bra straps will chafe from there, you can use BodyGlide. We used to use Vaseline in college when we were racing, but that works a lot better. That's not messy.
And what about this contraption here?
That's KT tape. So that's used, actually I use that with some of my athletes. It's real good for shin splints and stuff. You can Google how to tape it on if you have a shoulder injury, a calf injury, stuff like that. It's really cool. It's supposed to speed blood flow to the hurt area.
So, the shoes can be a little pricey, especially if you go to a specialty store.
No, actually, they're the same price as if you went to like a Dick's.
Well, what if you're...
but you get expertise. If you go to a specialty store, you're going to get expertise of someone.
Well, I meant more like Kohl's or Target, or you're going to one of those
stores.
No,
that's a great question. Those are actually second-tier shoes that are made by, you'll find Asics there and Brooks there and Saucony's there, but it's a second-tier shoe that's made at a lesser factory.
Well, what I wanted to know is, does price make a difference? Even walking into your store, there might be a pair for $50 and a pair for $150. Do you have to pay? Do you get what you pay for?
No, actually, a lady asked me that yesterday. She came in and said, I want your most expensive pair of shoes, and I told her that the most expensive pair of shoes isn't the right shoe for everybody. So, and she ended up leaving with a $100 shoe. So.
Okay, so now that we've gone to your store, we've gotten we know what shoes we're wearing. We're a new runner. How do we connect with others? Do you think that's important when you're first starting to run, or should you just go out on your own?
No, some people like that. Some people like to have some camaraderie. Most running stores have run groups. We have a run group that leaves on Saturdays and Thursdays. So you can go to your local running store. They'll have all kinds of running groups. Or meet up with a friend. Main thing to do is to take it easy at first, like walk, jog. If you're a new runner, walk, jog, walk, jog. Don't go out your door and say, I'm running 5 miles today. Because you're not going to do it, and you're going to go home, and then you're going to say, I'm done with this running stuff.
It's the last day you'll do it.
Yeah, yeah.
What about walking? There may be some viewers we have here that just want to do walking. Is a shoe fitting important for them as well?
Yeah. Don't be, most people think we're a run specialty store. I can't go in there to get walking shoes. 50% of our customers are walkers. So yeah, you need to be in shoes like this, not the orthotic looking walking shoes. You want to be in running shoes so you can be fit for your right foot. I do the same thing I do with a runner. Instead of watching you run, though, I'm going to watch you walk, sorry.
And I should tell our viewers that you are also the coach of the Hudson High School girls distance team.
Yeah.
How are they doing so far this year?
Pretty good, I guess. We haven't started yet.
So they're just in training.
Yeah.
Anything else we need to know about running that you'd like to share with us?
No, not really. Just remember to get good socks. Go someplace where they know what they're talking about. Don't try to go pick out your own shoe. Don't go to, I hate to say Dick's, but don't go to Dick's and try to pick out your own shoe. You're not going to pick the right one.
How can we reach you if they want more information? Where is your store located at?
It's in the Merriman Valley. It's Second Soul Akron down there, so they can get me there. Or they can call my cell phones 216-403-9894. They can call me there.
Thank you so much, Eddie.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
We'll be right back with more Mind, Body, and Spirit.
Whose idea was this? Did you think this was a good idea? Who got the paint out? Brother did?
What is funny?
I don't think this is funny at all. Who's gonna clean it up?
In today's health tip segment, I wanted to talk about dehydrated vegetables that you can purchase in the grocery store. You know, if you don't like eating vegetables or struggle with getting in the 2 to 3 servings a day, 2 to 3 cups per day that most healthy adults should be taking in, a serving of dehydrated vegetables can be a great addition. Because they're dried, the flavor is enhanced and they're very nutrient dense. My favorite that I found in the store are these dried beets here. There's nothing else to them besides beets. The one package is about 1.5 ounces and it's about 140 calories. An ounce of potato chips is around 140 calories, so it's a good swap because it's very low in fat. It's only got about a half a gram of fat, 7 grams of fiber, 4 grams of protein, 670 milligrams of potassium, and a little bit of sodium. They have a unique taste to them. When you taste them, there might be a little bit of surprise. It's not exactly what you expect, but it does grow on you, and it's a great addition, a swap out to your potato chip that you might be having with your lunch. A few other options I found is you probably never thought you'd be eating seaweed, but this is a really, really delicious snack. The whole package is about 60 calories and it has 1 gram of fiber, 1 gram of protein. It's an excellent source of vitamin C. It's got some vitamin A, it's got some iron. The wasabi flavor one is delicious. This can be really addicting. It's a great low-calorie snack that has quite a bit of nutrients in it. Finally, kale chips. You know, there's a lot of recipes on the internet where you can make your own kale chips, but this is an easy way to go, especially if you want to take it with you somewhere to eat as a snack. The one thing you have to be aware of when you're purchasing dried vegetables is sometimes there is a flavoring added to them, so that could add the calories. It could boost the calories up a little bit higher. These kale chips are for an ounce. They're about 140 calories. They have 7 grams of healthy fat, 2 grams of fiber, 4 grams of protein, 180 milligrams of sodium, so a little bit of sodium, not too much, 110% of your daily value of vitamin A, 100 milligrams of calcium, 12% daily value of vitamin C, and 8% daily value of iron. So they're very nutrient dense, they taste delicious, and it's a great addition. If you're not a big fan of vegetables, this would be a way you can kind of ease into getting those 2 to 3 cups that we should be taking in each day. So you can have your steamed broccoli and then maybe have a couple servings of dried vegetables. Well, that's it for today's program. Thank you for joining me. For Mind, Body, and Spirit, I'm Karen Kowalik, reminding you to eat more whole food, keep moving, and stay positive. We will see you next time.
Taught him how to hit a baseball, how to hit a receiver, the strike zone, the net. You taught him how to hit the upper corner. You even taught him how to hit the open man. But how much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit?